Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by Teddy Bear 2 himself, Nick Steblenko. What up, Nick?
It's a wonderful day here in Rochester, Donald. How are you doing?
I can't believe it. Over the weekend, I had the Lilac Festival. It was kind of cloudy. It was a little bit on the warm side. And then we got some nice weather to talk about.
Yeah,
this is rare.
Bad. Not too bad.
It's definitely rare. But you know what else is rare? A closer getting two shots in a row. Jason Gringer's here. I thought you were a closer. I thought you were leaving.
I guess I'm the starting pitcher now.
So you went from a closer back to a starter. Man, you're just
He's in the starting role. He got called up, and I mean, you know, when you have some injuries on your starting lineup, you got to find out a way to get things done.
Yeah, you're a true utility guy. You do what you're asked, right?
Yeah, had a great weekend watching my A's destroy the Indians.
Yeah, man, that was a heck of a series.
They really put it to him. Do you have any insider information on, did you get Scott Kazmir thrown out of that game on Saturday?
No, I did not.
Are you sure? Did you yell something really terrible at an ump and he got a little angry?
That was ridiculous. I think he screwed over a lot of our fantasy teams, getting ejected in the first inning.
Yeah, that's one of those intangibles nobody talks about. Player yelling at an ump and getting tossed in, the second inning?
Yeah.
Not smart.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And then he won easily, right? Because I saw the score. I was like, Kazmir must be doing really well. Nope, not at all.
No, the Indians are bad. Bad team.
This is one of those things. There are some teams that are really bad. There are some pitchers that are really bad. And you know what? On today's Star Fantasy League show, it's a quarter of the way through the baseball season. We're going to break down everything.
It's unbelievable. It's hard to imagine we've already made it through 40-plus games in the season.
And
but
nobody's paid any attention, right?
Except us.
Recently.
Hey, we paid attention. It's hard. You got to balance all of it.
That is true. There's a lot going on. We're going to break down everything for the first quarter. We're also going to do a spirited edition of John L's Mailbag, because we always do.
Heck yeah.
And to end the show, Value plays in a full breakdown of Tuesday in the major leagues. There's a lot to talk about.
Major League Baseball, Major League Love. Oh, yeah.
Major League Baseball, Major League Love. I don't think it gets any better than that. I'm just going to sign it off. We're done with the show. No, we're coming back. We're doing it. It's fine. You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Now, let's get back to it. The Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show.
Let's do this.
Time for your Star Fantasy Leagues MLB Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
All right, seriously, I'm not paying him in crackers anymore and water. He keeps getting it wrong. We're not doing a fantasy lineup breakdown. At the top of the show, I said we're doing a quarter of the MLB season breakdown, not lineup. What's wrong with him?
Maybe the salt just went to his head. Maybe there's just too much salt and no saltines, and I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, I was like, he can't eat 5 in a row without dying? Is that where you were going?
I guess.
Oh, okay.
Isn't there a saltine challenge?
Yeah, it's 5 in a row. You can't do it.
Well, what was the time on that, though?
No, ever. You can't eat 5 saltines without water. You can't eat 5 in a row without it completely getting to turning to dust, and you cannot swallow them. It's a weird challenge. I've never taken it. I've seen people do it. It's funny.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, really?
I might have to do that.
All right, on the Star Fantasy League show,
enough saltines.
You heard it here. Yeah, we've got 100 in the office. It's kind of creepy. Ian,
I feel like if you worked up the spit in your mouth, if you worked it up, you could actually make it happen.
Good luck. Good luck. We're going to do that on the show eventually. All right, let's get right into this. This is the first quarter MLB Fantasy Awards. We're breaking down everything that's happening. This is especially on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We monitored and charted all of the salaries, how they fluctuated throughout the season. This is from the first day to the last day, and we're going to go over some MVP, LVP, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You guys ready?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time. Let's do it.
All right, the first award goes to the first quarter free faller. This is the player or players that dropped the most in salary from opening day until today. You guys have any thoughts on who it might be?
Oh, man, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could expect possibly Derek Jeter to be in there just based on the fact that he's getting older.
You read my mind.
Yeah?
I was going to say Jeter.
Yeah, he's in the top 5. He's number 5, actually. He was not the biggest loser. I don't think he started out that high. I think he only started around 7,000. I think he's around like the 5s now, or it was 8 and like 6, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I don't even know some of these guys. I'll be completely honest, Jason. Tell me if you know these. Abraham Almonte.
Okay.
Do we know him?
Yeah, he was going to start for the Yankees, I think, but then they brought up Solarte.
And yeah, we'll get to Solarte, but yeah, I guess that was the big loser. Gayorko, Brad Miller, Paul Konerko. Paul Konerko went nowhere. He's batted like what, maybe 12 times this season?
Wasn't Almonte on Seattle? Abraham Almonte? Are we confusing the Almontes?
There was an Almonte on Seattle, but I think you're thinking of the wrong guy, maybe.
Yeah?
All right, I'm glad we have absolutely no idea. Thank you, Nick, for proving that I'm not the only one who has no idea who somebody's name. It's no reason it's no surprise that these guys are gone down so far in salary, though. They clearly haven't been living up to expectations.
Yeah, I had Gayorko on my list as well. He's hitting 154. He signed a huge contract in the offseason.
Oops.
4-year deal with the Padres. They gave him a ton of money to be their cleanup hitter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anytime you sign with a team like that, though, it's not smart. Well, why would you sign in San Diego, one of the best pitcher-friendly ballparks?
It's probably because they're one of the only teams that are going to pay him that much.
That might be true.
Hey, when you're going to get paid, man, you take your money and run.
You know what? I guess. I mean, Cano did the same thing. He went from the freaking little sandbox in New York all the way to Seattle, and that's not the best opportunity for him. But he got $300 million, so whatever. That's fine. $270.
Jay-Z.
Money talks.
Yes, Jay-Z got him that money.
Yeah.
All right, next one is the first quarter fantasy million. Oh, sorry, we didn't actually do pitchers. Hold on, who do you guys think is the biggest loser for pitcher?
I was going to say Justin Verlander, maybe.
Not on the list.
He has dropped 4,700, I think, since the
That
start.
doesn't qualify for the top 5.
Wow.
There's a lot of big losers.
Wow.
Number 1, actually, do you have a guess? He's on our team.
He's on. What, Buchholz?
Yeah.
Was it Buchholz?
Clay Buchholz has dropped over 9,000 in salary since the beginning of the season.
Can we be honest here? Two Sox fans, can you really be honest? He was cheating. He was cheating last season. That's why he was doing so well. I love you, Clay, but you stopped running your fingers through your hair, and it just made me start questioning what were you doing with your hair. Come on, it's just a fact. Like he was pitching lights out last season, and then somebody called him out on that, and now he hasn't even been a shell of his former self.
He was using pine tar as hair gel.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe we should tell Michael Pineda how to do that.
Yeah, don't put it on your neck.
Either that, or what if even if you just use regular hair gel? Doesn't it?
That probably helps.
That's sticky, right? And then if you're sweaty, it stays wet. And I don't know. I just feel like that's got to be it.
All right, let's move on to the first quarter fantasy millionaire. Let's start with the batter. This is the player that has gone up the most in salary. Who do you think it is?
Too low.
Wrong.
No,
not too low. It ain't too low. You're wrong.
Giancarlo Stanton.
No, he's not even on. Okay, Tulo is in 5th. He's gone up 42.83, but he started really high. He started around 8 or 9.
What about Charlie Blackmon?
Charlie Blackmon's 3rd on the list.
Okay.
You're missing a guy we already talked about. He's on the New York Yankees. Was not expected to start.
Solarte.
Yes. Solarte has gone up almost 5,000 in salary.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, he really came out of nowhere. And, I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting him to start at third base this season, right?
No.
Yeah,
No.
so, I mean, he's had a stellar season so far. I mean, he's been great for fantasy purposes.
Yep.
I don't know. Do you think that stays that way, though, or do you think he kind of comes back down to earth?
Doesn't seem to be going away. And he can play multiple infield positions, so I think
he might
he's
need to
be around for a
I mean,
while.
did they just find a diamond in the rough with him, or was that
like
kind of
it.
planned?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
All right, let's talk about the fantasy millionaire for pitcher. I think it's a pretty obvious one. He's come into the league. This is his first year in the league. Yeah. Is absolutely destroying. He's still undefeated in his career. That's amazing.
I saw something that said that he was the first pitcher to record so many wins and so many strikeouts since like 1900. His start to his career in the majors is nothing short of historical.
Yeah, we can't say anything more.
Where
about
would the Yankees be without him right now? They're in first place.
Wait, no, but you know that he's only been groomed to be a third starter in their lineup, according to Cashman. So
yes.
They have nobody. He's going to be the default number one because everyone else is like basically dead on that team. They're all dropping like flies.
Well, CeCe's actually had a nice little bounce back after his slow start. I think he's doing all right. And who would you rather have in a big time game right now?
That's true.
So
all right, let's quickly move on to the no one saw him coming. I'm assuming the two guys are the guys we just talked about, Solarte and Tanaka, right?
Yeah.
Do you have anybody else, Jason?
I've got Jesse Chavez.
Yeah, of course you do. Hometown boy. What a surprise.
Nobody's expected them to be this good.
And they're good.
He's been a middle reliever his whole career. He's basically sucked his whole career. And now he's been thrown into the starting rotation. He's killing it.
Yeah, trial by fire. There you go. Why not? All right, let's quickly. Least valuable player. How about this is just a guy. We don't have any salary to back this up. Who's the guy that you expected to be good this year that is absolutely just crapped?
Buchholz.
Okay.
Come on, I thought he was going to be okay.
For a pitcher, I've got Chris Archer for Tampa Bay. Signed a huge deal in the offseason to kind of be their number one starter once they get rid of Price, and he's kind of bombed this year with almost a 5 ERA and a 1.5 WHIP. Only 4 fantasy points per game.
Yeah, those aren't numbers for an ace, that's for sure.
No, sir.
Not even close.
He's not even the ace technically, though. Isn't it still David Price?
Yeah, it's still Price, but
he hasn't been that great this year either. He's been kind of getting smacked around.
Yeah, his ERA is pretty high as well.
Oops.
But he's had a lot of strikeouts, so it's made up for it.
Yeah, I would say usually, especially on StarFantasyLeagues.com, the guys who have the higher strikeout rates, regardless of how their ERA is going, tend to have higher fantasy points per average. Or per game on average. Yes. There we go. I can speak English. All right, let's get to the one that we want to talk about. The first quarter MVP. I don't care what their salary is. Just let me know who you think your first quarter MVP is from a fantasy perspective.
Is this a real? I mean, are we going to have a debate on this?
I just want to know who you think. We got a couple minutes.
Troy Tulowitzki's run away with this thing. His batting average is insane, especially his batting average at home. Which, I mean, that's not too surprising considering he plays in Colorado. But I mean, his numbers are off the charts right now. He's been a beast. His salary is well.
His salary is
perfect.
more than most pitchers.
Yeah, but it's right on for the amount of production that he's put out there.
Yeah, my top guy's got to be Tulo. My top 3 are Tulo, Charlie Blackmon, and Giancarlo Stanton.
I was going to say, if you included all 3 from Colorado, I was going to laugh. But
no,
I mean, let's be honest. Morneau hasn't been terrible on that team.
Yeah. He's been all right.
I know. If you wanted to include all 3 from Colorado, you could.
That's true.
They've got the best offense in the league right now, scored the most runs, and we haven't even talked about Cargo. He hasn't had a great season, but he's had
a very good season by all accounts. I mean, if you look at some of the other top batters on other teams, he's still outperforming them.
Yep.
He's still doing really this offense is churning right now. They just need to get some pitching.
So basically what we're saying is the first quarter MVP is the entire Colorado Rockies roster, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe with the exception of like their 8 and 9 hitters.
Not even. I put Lemieux? DJ LeMahieu. Yeah, their second baseman. I put him in the other day for my stack. He got me like 5.5 points for around 5,000.
Solid production.
That whole team, just put them in your lineups. That's the first quarter. That's what my fantasy award goes to. Congratulations to the Colorado Rockies. You just win.
How about Johnny Cueto for pitcher?
No.
What do you mean?
He's too expensive.
Come on.
No, I'm not giving him all the credit in the world.
MVP, though.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're going to talk about that in the last segment of the day, but coming up after the first break, it's time for, what is it again?
Mailbag.
John Holt's Mailbag time, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
That is right. All you have to do to get your voices heard on live radio is tweet us at SFL Show. That's about it. That's all we got.
Tweet us during the games. Tweet us before, after, whatever you want. I mean, usually when I'm watching the games, I'm on my Twitter.
Yeah, that is very true. We have it on our smartphones, on our tablets, on our computers. We can always get to Twitter.
I may be new to it, but you can help usher me along.
Yeah, you know what? Tweet some kind words to at SFL Nick, and don't worry about Jason. He's a closer. We don't tweet things to closers. No.
What do you mean? You tweet to him in the ninth inning. Tweet to him in the ninth inning only.
Yeah, you know what? That's fine.
And he will help you close that game out.
That sounds perfect.
Late swaps.
Late swaps, yes.
Exactly.
Ninth inning for the next game.
But no, seriously, if you have questions about who to start, who to sit, all that good stuff, just ask us at SFL Show, or if you want some free money, tweet us at SFL Show. Just all you got to do is send a nice little message with your username. You don't have to beg.
It doesn't even have to be nice.
And you know what the best part is? You can ask us questions about how we're going to be on drive time in Rochester, New York.
Oh, my God. I can't wait.
I believe end of the week we're moving to 5 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
I'm very excited. I love that we're on here in my hometown.
In our hometown? Whoa now.
You're slowly earning your Rochesterian status, but you are in denial right now. You are. You're slowly being transitioned, and you don't even realize it. You're just in complete and total denial. You live here, John.
And by transitioning, Jason, he means I'm being brainwashed.
Or soon you're going to have the Rochester accent.
There is no accent.
Rochester?
There is no accent.
Rochester? That's a thing?
The Rock.
That's not. No, you sound like you're from Boston.
No, that's how they say it. Rochester.
No, you don't say there's no Rochester.
You just said
it's Rochester.
All right, we have to move on. We love talking about local stuff. 105.5 The Teens, where you'll find us moving forward. We got to get into John's mailbag. Those are some good questions today. Carol D. writes, the Indiana Pacers took care of business in Game 1 against the Miami Heat. What is your biggest takeaway from the home win?
That everybody should shut up and let them play the game? No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait, where did that come from?
No. I mean, can we all be honest here? Pretty much everybody wrote this team off when they were having trouble with Atlanta. We talked about it.
Hold on, I wrote them off when they lost Game 6 to Atlanta to lose the series. They didn't lose to Atlanta?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, crap.
Everybody wrote them off during that series with Atlanta, and I think it's funny to watch people just jump right back on the bandwagon here. This team was never out of it. I don't think, if you watch the games, they were never out of it. They had a few problems that they needed to correct. Luckily, they did correct them. And it looks like Roy Hibbert's, the biggest problem of all, has come back to his normal form. He's back in the game. He's in the flow of the offense. And the only thing I would say is that they need to shore some things up defensively because they're not going to score 107 points every single game of this series.
No, that's the most they've scored since March 15th in an overtime game against Detroit. So the most they scored against Miami all season was 94. So this is 13 more points than they scored against them all season.
Yeah, are we really worried about the Heat? LeBron has lost every Game 1 on the road in his playoff career.
Has he really?
0-7.
Wow. So
there you go.
I don't think anybody's worried about the Heat. It's just nice to see that the Pacers stepped up and took care of business in Game 1. If he really was 0-6 heading into this game, then they were supposed to win it anyways, and they took care of business.
They did,
but they gave up too many points.
They shot 17 free throws in the third quarter, and Miami shot 15 all game.
Yeah, all games. 37-15 in free throws. Hibbert almost outshot them from the line. He had 13 alone, went 9-13. That's a big part of it.
Was he doing a hack a Hibbert?
Yeah, no. He's not terrible from the free throw line.
No.
For a big man, he actually has a normal stroke, which is very rare because they always have like the weird arch to their shot.
Or no arch. Or they do the whole I can reach over the basket thing and throw it down.
But the key to Indiana's success was spreading the ball around. 6 players in double figures in this game. That's what they need to win.
Absolutely.
If you don't spread the ball around against Miami, they're going to crush you.
Yeah, Miami doesn't have a lot of weaknesses on defense. You know, when you look at a defensive blueprint. Dwayne Wade also made up for it by scoring 27 points.
That is he had a solid game.
Yeah, and I think that they need to continue that. That's all. They just need to continue with doing what they're doing. They just need to shore up on defense. Otherwise, they're going to have some problems.
Perfect. I'm sure we'll talk about this as the series goes along. We got 3 more weeks of this series. At NBA waiting like 6 days in between games. It's ridiculous.
Next game is next week.
All right, exactly. All right. Yeah. Dave D. It's like UPS. It takes only 6 weeks to get there. It's no big deal. Dave D. writes, the Montreal Canadiens were blown out in Game 1 at home, but today it was announced that goalie Carey Price will miss the rest of the playoffs. Do the Canadiens have a chance without their standout goaltender? What are you still laughing?
You just slammed UPS. I didn't know you had an issue with UPS.
I have a problem with everybody who says they're going to send me a package in 3 days and it takes like a week and a half. That's so annoying.
Well, you got to pay for the 2-day.
Yeah, but then if you pay for the 2-day and it comes in 5 days, you don't get your money back.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, that is how they get you. Well, yeah, you know what? Our sponsor is definitely never going to be UPS, so that's fine.
Well, I think you just ruled that out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, anyway, so to the question at hand. Yeah, no, Montreal definitely still has an opportunity to win this series, and I think that, given the result of Game 1, I wouldn't ever use it as a crutch or an excuse, but maybe there was something more going on there with Carey Price. He had a lower body injury when he came out of the Olympics. Perhaps that's a re-injury. I haven't really seen anything that speaks to that, but if he really wasn't healthy in this game, then that would at least help to explain why the Rangers were able to put up a 7th spot on him. So, and Budaj, he's a veteran. He's a veteran goalie. He's not terrible.
It wasn't 7 on Price, but...
No, I know, 4, but... Once the ball gets rolling, it's really hard to stop it.
Yeah, and Montreal's claim that it was like a dirty play with Kreider sliding into it. That's BS.
That's not, there's no merit to that.
How are you going to stop going in? He's trying to score a goal. He got tripped up.
And Kreider's one of the fastest players in that series.
Yeah.
So when he gets going, watch out. and saying that he didn't do enough to stop. Get out of here. Now you're creating controversy.
All right, but what do we think with, what is it, Peter Buttigieg and Dustin Tokar? Is it Budai?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, how the heck are you
it's
laughing
like
I just know that?
Like Yagi.
Sure, why not?
Silent J.
And Dustin Tokarski, who do we think is actually going to play here? Budai let up 3 goals on 8 shots in the end of that game. Like you said, when it's flowing, it kind of just happens.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Tokarski has been playing a lot in the AHL, and we just saw what happened with Gibson getting called up, so perhaps that's a play. I would expect them to go with Budai, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Therrien might be – I hope he's not feeling desperate after that last game, but he might be.
But what do you think? Do they have a shot?
Yeah, I mean they're playing great hockey in front of Carey Price before he got injured. So I don't see any reason why they need to stop doing what they're doing on offense and defense. I think they're fine.
Yeah, they're rolling out 4 lines. Everybody's playing. They should be okay. But on the other side of the ice, they got Henrik Lundqvist going up against. So.
That's true. I mean,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. But they also went up against Tuukka Rask, who was arguably the Vezina Trophy winner in the regular season.
Arguably, he's going to get it.
Well, it hasn't been determined.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say yes, he was. But at the same time, that's who they went up against in the first or second series. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And then if they win that, they might get Crawford or Quick in the Stanley Cup Finals. So oops.
No matter what happens, you're never done until you're done in the NHL playoffs. There's 7 games for a reason. So.
All right, we got one more question. This one might be a little controversial. Connor B. writes, ESPN has managed to post 2 different articles with misleading titles in the past few days aimed at sensationalizing and even making up stories. Should ESPN cut it out and just report the news?
If you don't know my opinion on sensationalism in the media so far, then apparently you haven't been listening to the show.
Wait, you don't like Talking Head Zach or Talking Head Jonald?
No, they're pleasant. They show up,
Those
they
are
say about 5
sensationalized.
words, and then they get out of here. So
Yeah, that is true.
It is ridiculous. And that's why, I've said it about the Johnny Manziel. I really think he was overhyped, and I think Cleveland fell for it, but that remains to be seen.
And on top of that, we're not even talking about that in this story, but I've seen 4 or 5 articles on the front page ESPN about Johnny Manziel still.
Well,
he's not even the starter. Stop it.
I think the biggest issue is they latch on to players, LeBron James, Johnny Manziel, etc., and they help their brand by following along with these players. And I think that there's a big, deep rabbit hole that we could go down that could take hours and hours, so we can't really go that far into it. But no, these stories... which ones are we referring to? We're talking about the Penguins, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the Penguins story, which was where they
said Bilesma was going to be fired too. And
yeah, they basically posted the story before it was confirmed that Ray Shero, GM, and Coach Bilesma were both fired. And then when it came out that just Shero was fired, if the article still said that both were fired, then you clicked on it and they changed the article, but not the headline on the front page.
Yeah, I mean,
there has to be. They were definitely doing that to try to gain more.
You could
views.
reach back into the 1800s on media sensationalism. You could.
Oh, yeah.
Yellow journalism, and I just think that nobody's challenging them because they have such a stranglehold on the market. It's really, it's just upsetting to see that people's lives are affected in such a negative way when something like that happens. I don't like it.
That wasn't the only story we're talking about. We're talking about this Lance Stevenson thing where he said he hopes that he wants to run around Dwayne Wade in hopes that his knee would flare up and they'd be able to basically wear him down. When ESPN takes this quote out of context, they put on their front page, Lance Stevenson wants to hurt D-Wade's knee or something to that effect. It's basically like he had to clarify in another interview that he didn't want to gang style go after D-Wade's knee. Why are they doing this?
It's almost like they're trying to compete with TMZ.
That's okay. That's the culture that I'm thinking when I see stories like this. That's exactly the headline that you see on a TMZ or other stupid sites like that. They purposely mislead you with the title so that you click on it and go, "Oh, that's a crazy story." Then you read it, you're like, "Oh, that's nothing." What are you talking about?
I mean, I think the real question is about the consumer too. Is it ESPN's fault or is it the consumer's fault? Because we're in the same business. So if we throw up, at the beginning of the show, we're going to be talking about all these crazy topics, and all of a sudden we start getting more and more listeners that follow along. It's what sells. That's capitalism. That's business. That's just the way it goes in this country. So
we're not going to lower ourselves to that level, Nick.
I don't want to.
I'm not going to post sensational stories about Lance Stevenson's going to run on the show talking about how he wants to take a tire iron to Dwayne Wade's knee.
What?
That's what the story we're going to fake put in the show today.
Tire iron?
Yeah, just hit him with a tire iron. Whatever.
Wow.
Sometimes things happen.
Just got violent. This just got really violent.
ESPN posted the story.
We just went into the depths of Donald's world.
You know what?
Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah,
He's
yes, I'm going to get Nancy Kerrigan. Whatever, Tanya Harding. Haven't heard that name in a long time. All right, coming up, value plays of the day for Tuesday in the Major Leagues. You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick. Only on the team.
No. We're not here with Zach, Jonald, and Nick. We're here with Nick, Jason Gringer, and Jonald. See how easy that is? It's just Jason. It's not that hard to say.
Should we start beating him with a ruler?
We're going to edit that out. That didn't happen. We're not talking about the awful things we do to Cage Guy.
Except we're talking about taking a tire iron to Dwayne Wade's knee.
I said sensationalized
John
media.
Wants to do it.
We just
That's
talked.
what I heard. I heard John just wants to beat him up.
I'm gonna calm down. We're gonna be zen here. We're gonna be okay.
Taking the Phil Jackson approach.
Exactly. Thank you for understanding that. All right, we got to get to Tuesday in Major League Baseball. Yet again, 15 games. But for some reason today, Monday, 5 games. What the hell is going on with the schedule?
That's baseball. That's
5 and then 15? It's not a holiday.
Some people need a day off.
Yeah, they need off days once in a while.
Yeah, you don't need off days.
They only play 160.
Yeah, they only play more games than any other league.
Their rosters are fairly deep. You can kind of just slowly get guys rest if you want to.
Well, and that's why you look at our first segment that we did with the awards. I mean, most of those you might not even expect those guys to be around at the end of the season. Who knows?
This might be true, but we're talking about the here and the now, not the end of the season. It's daily fantasy sports. I got to give a little bit of a spiel. If you haven't played daily fantasy baseball on starfantasyleagues.com, got to pick one of each positional players: catcher, first, second, third, shortstop. You get 3 outfielders, 2 starting pitchers, 1 relief pitcher, and a wild card pitcher spot. You can put a reliever or a starter in there. Standard 100,000 cap. Get the most points, win the most money.
You missed one.
What I missed?
Utility batter.
You forgot about utility batter. Good call.
Utility batter as well.
You'll probably throw in an extra utility. If you act fast, we'll give you a utility player.
There you go.
No, that's not how that works. This is not used car salesman?
No, this is not, no.
All right, like I said, we got 15 games going on Tuesday. A lot of good pitchers, but also on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of bad pitchers going on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually kind of a nice day to pick your pitchers because you get to see how some of those guys match up that are at the same price. So when you're comparing pitchers today, if you look at certain guys that are in maybe like the 12 or 13,000 range, you can kind of say, hey, I like this guy at that price better. I don't know. Just throughout the season, it's a little bit difficult when you don't get guys starting on the same day, and you kind of have to roll through and pick pitchers just based on their matchup that day. So
yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. But first, I want to talk about the top guys. Obviously, Tanaka is the big gun, 21,431 on starfantasyleagues.com, going against the Cubs in Wrigley. The Cubs are bad, 27th against righties. Is there any reason not to roster Tanaka?
Well, his price tag is too high. So, I mean, it's hard to justify taking him, especially on a day like today. There's a lot of pitchers that are around that anywhere from 10 to 15,000 range that I would actually feel a little bit more comfortable just based on the value. But Tanaka right now, he's just a guarantee. He's going out there and he's literally mowing down lineups. So
he's third overall on the day in strikeouts per 9 innings, but everyone's pretty much between 10 and 11-ish. So if you like one of the guys, you can find somebody a little bit cheaper, but he's just striking people out.
Yeah, I think he's almost a must-start. Cubs have the 4th most strikeouts in the majors. He faced them in his 3rd start of the year. He got the win, went 8 innings. Only allowed 2 hits and 1 walk, no runs, 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, but the thing of it is that, with a pitcher, a good game is probably somewhere in the 10 to 12 fantasy point range, right?
That's a great game, I would say.
Okay, so that's a great game.
That's pretty good. If you get like 7 to 10, I think that's a solid outing.
That's a great game. If you get a batter that hits a home run or two, you're talking about 15 to 20 fantasy points. So if you save some money and go with a starter that's 13,000, 14,000, like, I don't know. I know Verlander's been on a downslide, but I'll just use him because he's at 12,700. He's going up against Cleveland tomorrow, who you even said they're not doing very well. So there you go. You have a starter that has the potential to put up some pretty solid, maybe like a 7 to 9 fantasy point day, and then you can save that money. You can save almost, 9,000 and go out and get yourself a nice couple of batters.
Yeah, I love Verlander tomorrow. Indians' offense has been awful lately. 8 runs in the last 4 games. However, pitchers are your most consistent point getters. Home runs are a lot less common, so a lot harder to predict. If you know a guy's going to pitch a lot of innings and have good chance at a lot of strikeouts, you tend to want to pay up a little bit for them.
I hear you. I just feel like he's getting to the point where on StarFantasyLeagues.com, he is just getting ridiculously. What's his actual price tag? It's $21,000.
$21,400. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's nuts.
I feel like it's just getting to the point where him and Johnny Cueto, they're just getting too expensive. And I know you're looking at a guarantee, but I'd rather roll the dice a little bit. And
here's the thing. I actually found a way to get into Tanaka and two of the really inexpensive guys that I think I told Jason before the show I have some interesting, really inexpensive guys I wanted to talk about as my potential guys to put in there.
Let's hear it.
My first one, I can't even pronounce his name. He's the pitcher for Miami Marlins. Anthony Desclafani? Sure.
Desclafani.
Desclafani, sure, why not? Doesn't matter. In his debut, he won at the Dodgers, who have one of the better offenses in the league right now. 10.5 strikeouts per 9 is what he's on pace for. He had a pretty good outing in his first game, and he's only 47-35. He's playing against Philadelphia, who's 26th against righties. I figure they're at home. That's a pitcher's ballpark. This is all the recipe for a decent fantasy outing for cheap.
No secret, though, the Phillies' offense is not that stellar.
Yeah,
no.
And he's filling in for Jose Fernandez, who's out for the year.
Womp,
they called him up.
womp.
They called him up from Double-A. He never, I don't think, pitched in Triple-A. He had a great first start. Gotta love the price.
Yeah.
Going against the Phillies, who have not been hitting great lately, or all season, pretty much.
And the other guy that's cheap that I'm going on a limb for is your boy Drew Pomeranz of Oakland, going up against Tampa Bay and Jake Odorizzi, who just has not been good at all.
Yeah, Pomeranz filling in. Odorizzi, he's kind of a weird pitcher. He gets a lot of strikeouts, but he never throws that many innings. So he's kind of a risk-reward guy. I don't know what his salary's at, but
his salary
is $8,900.
Yeah, he's 2,000. Oh, shoot, almost 3,000 more. I wouldn't personally touch him.
Yeah, Pomeranz had a great first 2 starts. Struck out a ton of guys against the White Sox.
Hold on, listen to this stat for him though: 99.1% left on base. There's no way that's sustainable. The funny thing is, if you look at there was somebody else on here. Oh, excuse me, Johnny Cueto's the other guy. 99.5% left on base. For him, that's almost sustainable at this point.
Yeah.
He's been that good.
Yeah, he's been amazing.
Yeah. But for a guy like this is you could see stats and you can interpret them in completely different ways depending on who it is.
That's the thing with Pomeranz. He was in the bullpen for the whole year until the last 2 games he started. So that's one of the stats that is basically inflated because if he came on with guys on base and
that's why we're not always just looking at one thing. Like you don't see that number and go, oh man, he must be really good. You go, oh okay, well let's look into it a little bit deeper. I mean, he has been fairly solid. He's cheap.
Yeah, he's another Billy Bean reclamation project. He was the guy that the Indians traded for Ubaldo Jimenez, and I don't know, he has never really panned out.
No, he was really good, and then no, not anymore.
Yeah.
One year.
Okay, so with those 3 guys, with their prices added up, you're looking at about like 32,000.
Yeah, I got it exactly 32. To do that with 3 middle of the road pitches, you have to do 10, 10, and 10, but I had trouble finding 3 10s I liked.
I don't know. I feel like there's a couple of guys I actually liked out there that were right around that middle price. You know, Verlander was one. We already talked about him, and he's $12,748. And then I really like Tyler Skaggs. I think he's got a great matchup against Houston. I think he's there. Houston's a terrible offensive team, and I know I've always kind of spoken on Feldman, but I think going up against the Angels isn't a really good way to go. And he's at 9,600.
Skaggs has actually pitched really poorly at home. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
I said this last time he pitched at home. His ERA is extremely elevated there.
One of my sleeper plays is playing righty Houston Astro batters against left-handed pitching. They've actually been doing pretty decent this year against lefties.
Really?
Yeah. And,
all right.
They just faced John Danks, I think, last game, and they put up like 8 runs on him. So against lefties, I kind of like playing Astros. Not a lot of people play them. Their salaries are really low, and I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's definitely news to me. So I mean, that's something that could definitely set you apart in those GPP games, and you could actually end up winning big with that. So
that is true.
There's some knowledge, dropping knowledge.
All right, so we've basically mentioned 8 or 9 pitchers tonight that we actually, or excuse me, for Tuesday that we're looking at. But let's get to the batter side of it. We got a few minutes to talk batters. I've been pulling some information. We have some of these pitchers we just look at and we know that they're going to struggle, especially against good teams. J.A. Happ's one of them. We've mentioned him a couple times. He's an okay strikeout rate, has 6.11 walks per 9, and almost 2 home runs a game. Those numbers are both horrible.
Yeah, he came out with a really good game last time out. We kind of talked about how we thought he was going to bust, but him and DuBrant both not very strong at all. Tons of great batters in that Toronto-Boston game. So, on both sides of the ball, too. Joey Bats, Encarnacion, Cabrera, and then on Boston side, Pedroia, Napoli, and Victorino. All of them righties or switch hitters, and all of them, I think, have a great shot, especially in Boston. I think we might have a couple of shots going over the monster.
It's funny, yeah. Normally you talk about like the reverse splits thing. DuBrant is horrible against lefties. I saw that stat, and I was like, wait, what?
He's also horrible against righties.
No, that's what I'm saying. But normally,
it's just horrible.
I understand. But normally you see lefty on lefty, you assume that's pitcher, right? But no, he's terrible against lefties.
No, the Sox need to find a new fifth starter in that lineup.
Yeah, they need to just DuBrant, ship him in a box back to wherever he tuck it, maybe lower than that. Just put him somewhere.
Yeah, Blue Jays are my stack of the day.
Yeah, I figured that game we might have a lot to talk about because Boston could be a stack, Toronto could be a stack.
Yep.
But if we're talking offense, the obvious choice of the day has to go to Colorado again, right? I mean, not just Colorado, San Francisco as well.
Yeah, but Cargo's dominant against Bumgarner. He's .351, hitting 5 home runs lifetime. I mean, and that's another reverse split right there.
Yeah. Well, Bumgarner actually had a really good game in Colorado this year against them.
He did.
I don't think he allowed. Did he allow any runs or
no?
one
He
run?
did allow one. Yeah. I think if the final was 2-1.
Yeah. He's pitched against them twice this year. One time in Colorado, one time in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And the first game he allowed only 2 or 3 runs. For the second game was only 1 run. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lied. It was 2 runs. Both of them were home runs though.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I think that you could probably take a good chance on Cargo tomorrow. He's 8,200, so out of those big bets for Colorado, he's actually reasonably priced.
Yeah,
one of the only ones.
The big takeaway for me from this game is Franklin Morales is really bad against righties, exceptionally one of, I think, 2 or 3 worst pitchers of the day. Not to mention this is in Colorado, so I would load up on San Francisco righties in this game.
The Giants, they've hit 50 home runs this year, which is huge for them. They're usually not a home run hitting team. Belt's gone down. And they're still hitting a lot of home runs. They picked up Morse.
Morse could be good again.
Start tomorrow.
Don't forget your boy Pablo Sandoval.
Kung Fu Panda.
He's been coming through big time in the past week. I think he's had, 2 or 3 home runs in the past week or so.
Yeah, he's hitting 400 since Belt went down, so he's really picked up the slack.
And he's cheap. He's still cheap. He's under 4,000, I believe.
Yeah, Hunter Pence is another righty you can look at, and Angel Pagan is a switch hitter.
Yeah, so I would definitely target righties. I would pretty much target that entire game. I love both San Francisco batters and Colorado batters. Like I said, neither of these guys is really a world beater, especially in Colorado.
And it's in Colorado.
Yep. That's one of those things. 9.5 over under, which is actually the same as that Boston-Toronto game.
Yep.
So if a gun to my head, do you really want to pick between those 2 matchups? I like all 4 teams.
Yeah. There's one more that I would look at, too, is that's Seattle at Texas. Because, again, you're in Rangers ballpark. That's a great hitter's park. Justin Smoke, Kyle Seager, Michael Saunders have all had great games in the past against Colby Lewis. So there's another potential stack option, and those guys are a lot cheaper than most of the other guys on the board.
Yeah, and again, Colby Lewis, man, almost a 5 ERA.
Yeah.
He's
played Seattle twice this season. He's 0-1 in 2 starts. 10 innings pitched, 13 hits against, 6 earned runs, and 3 homers. All
I have written down is he's horrible versus lefties, but worse against righties. So that doesn't really help his case whatsoever. It doesn't matter how you bat, you're going to get a hit against Colby Lewis pretty much.
Didn't even mention Cano there, too.
Yeah, but he's a little bit higher price. So.
He's actually not terrible. I think he's around 8,000, isn't he?
Yeah. Again, I mean,
not the worst.
Go with him. It's not a bad idea.
We didn't even get to plays of the day because you know what? Coming back to the break, we're recapping all our plays of the day, our stacks of the day, and everything for Tuesday across the major leagues. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
That's right. Contact us at Twitter. At the Twitter. Is that not our username?
On the Twitter.
At SFL Show on the Twitters, if I'm an old person. We got to break down all of our value plays, our stacks, all that good stuff for Tuesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Nick, start us off.
All right, I'm going to start with my pitcher as Justin Verlander because I just love his value and I think he's going to have a really good game. And my batter's going to be Carlos Gonzalez.
Carmo Gonzalez.
It's not Cargo. Carlos Gonzalez, he's 8,200, and he has great numbers against Bumgarner in his lifetime.
Perfect. What do you got for me, Jason?
Pitcher, I'm going Tanaka-san.
God, no.
Masahiro.
You don't get to take fine, you can have Tanaka. Whatever.
Okay,
I thought you were gonna go with your boy because you always pick an Oakland guy.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
I love Tanaka tomorrow. Batter of the day is Matt Holliday.
I don't believe he's on Oakland either. What are you doing?
Bronson Arroyo, who's given up a 400 batting average to right-handed batters this year. And Holliday's got 4 home runs off him in his career.
That doesn't help that Bronson Arroyo has just been atrocious this year.
Well, the past couple of games he's been okay.
The last few games he's been
he has, but he's going up against Wainwright, and I don't think he stands to win anything.
Nope, not going to help. All right, I wanted to go with Tanaka, but we don't preach picking the same guys because we want to have some kind of accountability. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with Josh Beckett on the road against the Mets in Citi Field, 13,202. We didn't even talk about him earlier. I actually like him. I like him for his money. Yep. But if you're going high-low, I really like the Masahiro Tanaka and some cheap guys.
Yep.
And my batter of the day is Joey Bats. I love everybody in that Boston-Toronto matchup. Yep. So anybody that's on that team, whatever.
Stack the 1 through 4 in that lineup. All righties.
Yep. That's perfectly fine. Stack anybody against. He's terrible.
If you're sitting on the Green Monster tomorrow night, have fun. You're gonna get a home run ball.
That might be true. Fenway, you're cleared for landing because there's going to be a lot of balls landing on probably Lansdowne Street, probably on the highway, everywhere.
Oh yeah.
All right, we got a lot going on. StarFantasyLeagues.com. Thousands of dollars each night in baseball guarantees since NBA and NHL sadly are done. I'm very sad.
It's okay. Transition to baseball, learn a thing or two.
That's
play
true.
Along.
We're here 5 days a week on the Star Fantasy League Show to teach you more about baseball. Tweet us at SFL Show with your username. You get $5 free in your account. There's no better day than today to start playing. There's a sport. I think it's called. Hold on. Let me. Can I quote you for a second?
Go for
Major League Baseball, Major League Love. Take it easy, guys.